St. Albans to see something in action here, and talk to folks who have done manure injection here in the county. So yeah, manure injection is a great conservation practice from our perspective, especially from a nutrient management perspective. I think Scott and other folks may talk about this a little bit, but you get twice as much nitrogen for your crops by injecting it versus surface broadcasting. So from a nutrient management planning perspective, it's really an important practice. It also, I don't know if you're familiar with the nutrient management plan, the P index, it affects the P index quite a bit in that it makes it quite a bit lower. So essentially that means you can apply more manure according to your nutrient management plan. And you know, there are a number of other benefits as well, which I'm sure everyone here will speak to. So I guess we'll start over here. So we're going to talk a little bit about this grass. This is all set up for grassland, but it can be set up for corn as well. And then Scott Magnan is here and brought a VTI injector toolbar. It's over there on the tractor trailer. So we'll start here talking about the Chaput system and Logan's set up here, and then move over there when it seems like we've kind of wrapped up this part of it. I really want this to be like a lot of questions, a lot of chatting. There's already been some great discussion. It's really just to get people together and talk about these different systems and how they could fit into your system at your farm. So thanks for coming. Great. Let's see, Logan or Mike, who wants to go first?
Well, I mean, myself, I don't have an injection of grass yet, so that's why I called Logan up to, because I know he was doing it. And draglining, I mean, it just works great. I mean, time-wise, it just saves us so much time and money. No matter if you hire it done, it's still going to probably save you money in the long run. So you start figuring it takes, like you were saying earlier, you're still a week and a half later, you're still spreading shit. If he was right behind you with a chop, you know, maybe you'd make more grass. And all the long scheme of things, you'd probably make money. But that's trying to put a plug your way a little bit. But I also wanted to see it in action myself, so he was nice enough to bring it up. I got it all set up. Probably later, once we get talking there for a bit, we can get shit coming this way and watch it in action and see what it does.
Mike, before we get into this, do you want to talk a little bit about the system that you guys have set up here, just so we talk about that? And then...
Yeah, I mean, dragline?
Yep, your dragline and injection system.
Right now, most of we can reach with just a hose itself. I can reach over on the other side of those trees over there, steel's way down. It's not easy just with the hose. That's not underground. And with the underground line now, if you look at that silo up there, we spread out of this bit in that field right next to that silo. You know, with 2 units, where one man goes 5 hours, putting on about 800 gallons a minute because it's so far. I should have had a third unit in there. That's 2.5 miles underground pipe and over 3/4 of a mile above ground. Now 2 miles underground, 3/4 above. Covered in 5 hours, one man, where normally it would take me 6 men, 4 trucks, 2 tractors, and 2 days to get that same field done. So just the difference in there is just mind-boggling. So we just put in another 1/2 mile, so now I can actually go on the other side of the road from that silo, you know, if I get a third unit, or just send in my satellite bit and then push it the rest of the way. So it's
you got just a satellite fit there already, don't you, Mike? Or?
Yeah, we're going to use that one there. We got that one. We're going to get that one certified this fall. So we're able to send it right there with 2 units. Just fill the pit and then take it from there and send it another mile out from there.
When he says units, he's talking just big pumps.
The power units that suck it, push it. Yeah. And we're talking to even get more crazy and head on the other side of town, Newport Center. And we're definitely putting a satellite bit up there just to get started.
How many horses does it take to run your pumps?
To send them, they're both, I'm not even sure what the horsepower on that. One of them is about 400, it's a truck engine, about 400 horse. But they're all self-contained unit.
Okay.
So you buy it for about 120 to 150 grand new, but you can probably buy them every day used for about half the price. And that's probably the way you want to go. But yeah, and those, they sit there and they don't even, it's not like they're sitting there screaming. just idling, it's pretty much just sending you, keeping you the pressure you need, the movement you need. So when it comes to the end of the day, even though it's a big tractor, you say you burn a lot of fuel. No, you're running that throttle, just putt through the field. You're not burning a lot of fuel. That's the other big savings we saw with the drag line. Just the fuel savings is crazy.
Hey, there'll be a lot less fuel than. How many gallons you spread in an hour with that?
Right now we're averaging our flow is usually between 23 and 2,900 gallons a minute. That's based on booster pumps. So we started out with a couple smaller booster pumps. We had an issue with power being the solid content in the manure pits. So digestible manure pumps easy. It's like water. Sand, it makes you work for it. There's a lot of strategies that we've learned, to make it work. This was our first toolbar we started with in fall of 2017, and we used it for corn, and we liked it for our rockier ground, but we noticed that as we went more, people wanted to apply more gallons per acre on their plan because they're injecting and they're seeing savings fertilizer cost, where this one here really likes to do a good job around 8 to 10,000 gallons an acre, but it's a lot more, it's injected, but I call it more surface injected, where we bought another bar in fall of 2019, a Dietrich's. It's wider, it's 33 feet, 16 shank, running 12-inch sweeps on it. Tyler's burning usually average about 10 gallons an hour in this tractor, as long as the ground's somewhat been worked prior. We've seen it up to 30 gallons an hour on some real heavy clay.
That's with the decrease.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's deeper, it's digging deeper, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And two, I think you're getting a lot more oxygen down into the soil, getting warmer temperatures, breaking that clay up. So we've pretty much really now strictly used this bar for grass. This year we've done probably 600 acres. It's tricky to get farmers to adapt to it. They're nervous about rocks and roughness of the fields. One of my reasons why I like this disc, you'll see today, it just kind of does a trench. It doesn't pull dirt up, which you don't want ash content in your feed, nor dulling your chopper out. We just did a farm across from 105 from the Abbey, and second cut, you got 20 loads of feed. It's obviously been a dry year, it's digestible manure. We just went in and applied 8,000 gallons an acre, and he just chopped a couple days ago. We got 47 loads off that field this time. His cost in that field to do that was a penny a gallon. It averaged out to be about $12,000. So, you guys know what haylage cost. It pretty much paid for all the extra haylage, and the bill. So it's money up front, but you're using your nutrients out of your pit, where I think it's very important nowadays with farmers still facing low milk prices and how to be efficient, whether it's fuel and fertilizer cost or growing better feed to cut back the grain, if you don't have to shoot high protein grain, if you got high protein grass. So I think this tool here, it's a win all the way around for the farmers.
Now, he said he was doing 2,900 gallons a minute. He's running 8-inch feed pipe, but probably a little higher pressures than I run.
Yeah,
I don't want to take a chance breaking down. He's got to get stuff done.
I don't like to see our drags over 170. That's pretty good. The hose is good for 200. We did a job this spring, not gonna lie. It wasn't fun. It was like 700,000 gallons. I'd call it concrete. We were pumping, it was sand. And we're running 197 PSI out on every pump and the flow is only 1600, which tells you it doesn't work. You know, there's a happy medium. You got to have some water in there to move that solid content.
Is that a challenge for you this year with the lack of rain? I know we're finding it in our pits.
Yeah, very. This year I noticed every pit was down between 300,000 and 400,000 gallons. In compaction with this tractor, last fall we were at a farm and it was kind of wet. I mean, we weren't doing a whole lot of hose humping. We were doing a lot of blowing out. That's sending the ball through the line, cleaning the manure out, and moving the line with air across the field, keeping that hose humping tractor out of the field. There's definitely a lot of strategies to make it work. If it's wet, you'd be surprised how much you can, do with this. And we have a farm out in New York. They don't top dress any of, well, not all their corn, but a good 3/4 of it, no top dress on where we apply their manure, and they're averaging great corn, and they've been, I think this is going to be our fourth season with them. So there's, like I said, there's a lot of ways to look at the costs. You got to really sit down and pencil it all in. It sounds like, a lot, like I said, our base price is $0.01 a gallon for raw manure or digestible. Sand manure is $0.015 a gallon, and every pump I add in is 0.2 cents. So a pretty average across is $0.01.7 for sand, because you're gonna add a booster pump, guaranteed. If not, 2, depending on how thick it is, because it keeps the flow going. Sand, you gotta be above 2,000 gallons a minute, otherwise you get sediment in your line. And like us sitting out there for half the day with the air compressor on, with just sand just falling out the end of that, stacking up to the top, in a pile. Looks like someone dumped the 10-wheeler load of sand there. So, like I said, you gotta learn the farm really, and there's a lot of variables. Could be a hill, could be a sag, could be just where you gotta run the hose. Another reason I like the booster is if we're going underneath the road in a ditch, and for instance, let's say we're pumping out behind here and we're coming across, I'd make sure there's a booster out in that field, because A, there's farm here, there's people. Let's keep the pressure down around the farm. Let's make sure that pressure's out in the field where there's only a couple people working, rather than the whole farm. I think that is very important, is safety on it. Less chance of the line blowing apart. Put the manure out, the chances where it's in a good spot, because this line does break, unfortunately. So
I'm pretty good luck with it. Surprised what it does here. You're always getting it wet. We had real good luck. We've done a lot, especially if we inject in the fall and the spring. Top dressing is, don't even need to know. You got it there. It's not a question. Yeah, we moved there last year right across the road. I couldn't believe it. Pulling corn off there last year. This year we only got in there in the spring. We didn't have enough time last fall. So I had to do a little, went in with 15 for the top dress.
50
That
units
was
of nitrogen is what you have there, but yeah, any of our guys that are dragline injecting 12,000 gallons in the spring, unless we get really bad early rain, we don't need any additional nitrogen for that crop, besides what's close to the corn planter.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm glad we got it put that way.
Logan, you want?
Every time I use it, I just see the dollar signs click. When I see one man out there, I ain't gonna worry about that truck breaking down on the road or losing shit on the road and somebody calling me. He's over here. draw 'em. I mean, you know it right off. You see the pressure on the gauges, you see the gallons change. At that point, you kill everything. And then if it's out here, a lot of times you just drive a tractor on top of the hose and all stops right there. So,
Logan, do you want to talk a little bit about this toolbar in particular? Or?
It's just 24-inch centers, meaning across. I like 24 because everyone's playing. Some people are playing 20-inch rows, some people are playing 30. I thought it was good to have the manure right next to that seed, close, which it seems to work. These are just regular wheel, hub with. We're running gear oil in them. Didn't have very good luck. Now we fill them full of grease. Seemed to work. These swivel, and it's got maybe 14 this gate here cleans out the distributor for garbage or whatever, plugging out. Sometimes it doesn't work. You still got to get out. Take the nuts off that. Tyler, I've ran this tractor for about 6 hours. I don't like to be in it because I like to be the ground man. I like to, I just didn't like it. So I like to
it's very,
see what's going on.
very monotonous. You're just going like 3 miles an hour, and just driving up and back down. But myself, I look at dollar sign.
You run it by GPS? You got auto steer?
So we actually, Scott Magnon's here today. We work with Scott on all the ag leader stuff. My goal is to be everything all flow metered by next year, whether it's a manure truck. I just feel like people really don't, the gallons, it amazed me on what actually 8,000 gallons is. Some people ain't even putting it and saying they are, or you're over applying, where I just said, if you can put manure and know how to fertilizer bill, why not use your product in your pit, all the way across your field efficiently. So Scott, we can call Scott. He can download it from our iCloud, sends it to Scott. Scott gets all of our information, exactly how many gallons per acre. We get the information to the farmers. You guys staple it right into your nutrient management plans and done. It's easy. Tom can call me and just an email and say, hey, I need such and such information. Call Scott, say, hey Scott, send an email to Tom. It's done. It's definitely the way to go. And one thing I like about this is we're only a 3-man operation. We also got trucks on the road, so Monday Tyler's going to be in this tractor, and he knows how to get the hose around the field without the hose humper sometimes, so it's hard to find help, and that's our biggest struggle in the business is finding people that want to work, and it's not sometimes clean, but some days you don't, you just drive the tractor. Other days you go home, not so good looking. So,
Never seen it.
yeah. Like I said, the injection actually started. I worked for Scott Magnon for 16 years, and he started with some toolbars on tanks, and it kind of just, definitely grew and had the opportunity to do this, so I just feel like it was a good move for the way dairy's heading. Everyone's 3,000 cows now, and several acres to cover. Short. The weather windows are short. Our goal is to move definitely 1 million gallons every time we pump. The demand's out there for this for sure. This year it's one of our better years. We're probably roughly in the high 60 million gallons this year. So it's real efficient. We're definitely figuring out what hose to run. That makes a difference on your fields. Shale rock is hard to work with in fields. It's like razor blades. cuts the hose, and so that's definitely an issue. If you have a lot of shale, it's not going to work all that well. You know.
But bowling balls is fine.
What's that?
Round rock.
Yeah, around rocks it will slide. You can get it over there, but you get like those knolls where that stuff just sticks up and the hose pulls over, and it just.
That's pretty good luck. A lot of times you're paying attention to, you can maneuver the hose so it don't ever have to go over the rock. But
Yeah.
for the most part, the rocks are always a little bit wet anyway, so.
Yeah, round rocks don't bother that bad. It's
Now,
just shale.
where you run that out in your cornfields, people coming in behind you no-tilling the corn, or?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like a day like today, fall. You know, if it was in the fall, it was warm like this, you went out, you could, 8,000-10,000, you'll be on that land tomorrow morning, doing something with it where you're not going to apply high gallons on a manure tank, and no one's gonna be very happy with you.
No, it's hard to chisel that in.
And if it's
That's when you need
digestible,
Well, that's one thing I did find back in the day when we were chiseling. I found the only way to do it, I literally had to follow that spreader, like right behind where it was landing. I'd get enough traction to actually be able to drop the chisels. But after that, like you said, you can't pull the chisels deep enough, so then you're gonna wait, sit there, and it's all evaporating.
You're losing the nitrogen.
Yeah. So when I started doing this, I was just like ding, ding, ding. And next year, I mean, I'm definitely going to be looking to putting on that. Like my farther fields where they're small, they don't pay to set up. If it's under 10 acres, it starts to get, unless it's right there where you can just hump it over. The spreader would probably just as well transfer, But I'm still going to try to look into injecting because it's just dollar signs all the time. Every time you get in the ground. And that other tractor ain't out in the field chiseling and trying to inject in the ground. You already got it there. You went across once and you're all done.
So you're going in right behind after you put this on the spring mic, and you're no-tilling your corn in, or you
Yeah.
tillage?
No. Me and tillage, I hate it. I hate it. I mean, we got still about 400 acres or so. We still do.
Yeah,
On
you
the-
can't. It doesn't apply to every acre, but so.
Yeah, well, we do like out in front of the fields where we just splash pan it on top because we don't have a toolbar. Those fields there, we go right in, no till every time, and it works great. Those fields, but with this toolbar, even better. I mean, it's where the toolbar goes through, it grows crazy great. And the thing is, this year, when we get those last 400, where I get the tillage tools, to try to keep ahead of the corn planter. I was in front of that shop all day, beating on one. I had 3 of them out there, and I was always beating on one or the other, trying to keep it going. Where we're going to pick the rocks. Where you have this, you have no till, you just he goes out and they go on later. See you later. It's great. It's still 800 acres anyway.
Tractor auto steer, GPS, or you?
It was yes. No. I spent a day and a half. I'm not smart enough for that. I spent a day and a half that I couldn't sit around anymore. I said spreadsheet. I couldn't get it to. Because you have to be out there and actually running it to make it work. Yeah, we can still see the flow. Yeah, we do have auto steer planners. We have auto steer tractor. Just to get them all to work together, that's always the issue. We have one company and another company that's going to have to talk. That was where the problem is.
Well, if you knew you wanted to go at 3 miles an hour, and you got a line there, that tractor, you set up with. Oh, I see. The way your hoses like and stuff, you can't just. You gotta do certain things. Your hose is not a problem.
But hose, no inputs, and maybe you're going down the fields, and every time you come back, you're going to be back probably 30 feet. And so you're not going to get every corner of the field with a drag line, not that easy, because you can't just drag that line anywhere you want because it'll roll. And definitely said, is this hose humping. We learned something way back before when they first started. I didn't have enough tractors for having one on a hose humper too. So we learned with doing what I call a switchback. You can do like an S-turn back and forth with it, and then you pull it, and then all the curves fight themselves, keep them rolling. But you can only get a certain part of the field. So like this field here, we'll probably get done with put a tractor there and then hose hump it over to the other corner and work the other way. So you can do, I don't know what you call it, but you could probably do a 100-acre field without just hose humping it in a different corner.
Yeah, we just did some big land out in New York, and I think we did 125 acre set. Never shut the pump off all day. Sat there, going back and forth. The bigger the field, so like you were saying, how the hose follows. So like, let's say this tractor pulls all the way to the other end, and this hose is going to kind of just loop and go all the way. If when you got down there and only come halfway back and went over and stepped over again, you know what I'm saying? The hose is not following. So like, every time you do those little short passes, that's where you want a hose humper. So small fields, you gotta have it, because you know, you might turn and then come back out and jet over into that corner, and you know, where a big field all day long, the hose is gonna follow you all the way across.
It's like the one behind the main farm. It's 100 plus acres. And we can go into there and we just, like you said, just hose up and do this side, and go over this corner, then shoot it across the road. And you never stop. It's the fun ones to do.
I mean, for corn, I think you can sometimes move your hose yourself, you know, and drive which way to pull your hose the right way and straighten it up. But grass, obviously, you only want to put so many gallons, you know, it's a little trickier. Yeah, I ran the hose humper, quite a bit in the pumps. I run out of the tractor. You know, we changed up a little bit. Some days Tyler's running the iPad and pumps on the tractor, but it's definitely a good way to get your manure out. Whether it's a dry year, wet year, it's gonna definitely show savings, and your crops are gonna look good. Like I said, everything you can say about it seems like it costs up front, but in the end of the year, you're gonna see the difference.
Well, 2,900 gallons a minute. And when our 8-inch pump is pumping right out of the pit into the tractor, it's about 2,900 gallons a minute. And that tractor leaves, and he's got to drive 5-10 minutes to a close field, and then spread it at maybe 2,900 gallons a minute, real? Spread it. And you got another one backing in. It takes a minute and a half to back in, and a minute, you know, and you just start doing the math on it. You can move so much more manure.
Yeah, so just
Even if you had enough tractors to keep that pump running,
It takes some
you
manpower and
you
equipment.
can't move manure as fast as this can.
and you're burning more fuel
And
already than
a
you
lot
would,
more fuel.
and you got more payroll on.
It's not so much the payroll, it's the people. You
Well,
can't
yeah,
find
you
the
find no
people.
help. Yeah, no, I
I
mean,
mean, yeah, payroll's part of it, but you can't
it's a
find
savings
the people.
for you if you don't need to have that much help, you know.
Yeah, I find even using a drag line across the road, I mean, it's right there. But I still can do that field a third of the time that it would take a guy with a shit spreader, and it's all great.
Yeah, so when we flow high gallons like that, I like someone on the ground. I don't care if it's my son, you know, I got a 16-year-old kid, he'll drive the Kubota all day long. His job is to make sure there's no leaks or something looks weird, or a pump, booster pump that you can't see, but everything looks good, but might be some black smoke roaring out of it. That's not supposed to be doing it, you know. So there's a lot going on when you're flowing gallons like that, but we also got people that are waiting for us, and you know, we're definitely committed. When we say we're going to be there, we're there. So we do pump at night. It's not our favorite thing. Seems like sometimes you're better off to go home, but
I'll be there pretty good.
but we have done it. Some days works great. I think that's the way it is with everything. Is there any questions on this stuff, equipment?
Mike, do you want to talk a little bit about, you guys had assistance from NRCS in terms of the drag line setup, right?
Yeah, we've
Talk a little bit about that.
with the toolbar
With the toolbar.
and the one power unit.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
will. You can. I'm not sure to be honest with you. I'm not sure what grants they were,
Yeah, okay.
but that's where.
Got
Yeah,
it.
that's my brother's
Okay.
thing.
Dave, can I call on you to talk a little bit about NRCS and what kind of options there are to help support these systems? Yeah, as far as the drag line manure transfer, I think is the practice.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, we can, and we have, in this case here, we've been able to put some dollars towards buried waste transfer line, pumps, that sort of thing. The flexible hose and this type of equipment we're not able to do anything with, but we can do, fixed buried pump. So it's through that EQIP program that we have.
And there are some assistance programs through the state of Vermont. The SEED program is the one that comes to mind. I think they're interested in funding injection systems, helping do that. So that application round is usually in November. Are there any other questions on this system or anything else you guys want to?
There's actually, I just got an email the other day, I think there's a FAP grant out right now. You gotta apply for, you gotta give them 30 days, but it's $25 an acre. I think the cap's $5,500 a farm
For injecting.
for injecting.
Yes, thank
But
you.
it has to, everything has to be followed by the plan, and you gotta send the maps and the shape files and everything to them. And
Yeah.
It's
That's the
an
way it
$8,000 cap per farm, which
it went up then.
I think it's 8, but it also includes all your cover cropping and everything else, so you may have maxed it on.
Right.
Yeah, and so that's a payment through the state as well, and that's something we, at the Conservation District, we can help you get
And
together
I'm
if
pretty
it
sure
seems
that
daunting, the requirements.
I'm pretty sure if he didn't use it this fall, I'm pretty sure it's still available for spring with this filling something with just,
It's usually a year.
yeah, so, which it does cover something fuel.
Yeah. It's worth doing, I think.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well it's worth trying out anyways. You can see it for yourself. And then this fall, next spring, maybe they might do.
Yeah, one thing I find hard with the dry line, I guess, is low gallons per acre. So, I like, so if, let's say, I'm not sure what Mike's gonna have a supply today here, but if you're doing 3,000 gallons an acre, this tractor's gonna be moving across the field. And what makes me worry is this becomes a rototiller.
Yeah, we'll be going a little more than that.
So, and we can adjust the flow, obviously, out of the pit, but I think, for instance, so we have a farm and the plan called for 3,000 gallons an acre. So we got done spring manure down there, started manure left. We went and we applied 12,000 gallons to the land and it's done for the season. They just took, I think they already took 4 tons out of that farm. And the yields have been good and the protein's been averaging 24% every 30, 35 days chopping.
Well, you talked about the field you did across the yak.
Yep,
You talked about one cut coming off right after you did it.
yep.
We're gonna get another cut off that.
Yeah, and you can see the green strips coming back now already.
It's already,
So it's a dark green strip, and it stays. I mean, it'll be there for a while.
So that would be more like some kind of adjustment, right? So it wouldn't be 3,000 for the year, it'd be like 12,000 for the year and split applications.
Right,
To make the system
Gotta do it
work,
all
you're
at
gonna move.
right. So pretty much you're just putting what you can in at one shot. Where I think it's cheaper to do it like that because every time you gotta have this tractor drive up, you're paying for the fuel on it. way I've been, doing, like we did across from the Abbey. That was his plan, and it's done.
Mike, do you like to split apply your corn acres, or do you, like if you're going all the way over to the buck farm, do you do all that this fall if conditions are right, or do you like to do some in the fall and the spring?
Actually, I just still do it all in spring, like you said. Just one setup would be nice. But if I have to get rid of manure, I'll split it up, do more fields, and just do half what this calls for, and I'll hit the other half in the spring. So,
Yeah, all the fall, like the nitrogen capture, it's only a spring thing. That you capture the nitrogen in the fall, but by the time spring rolls around, that ammonia nitrogen is gone. So the true value on corn ground is spring applied. I was just telling these guys too, when I run the numbers in the phosphorus index, if we surface apply, for Mike, we were capped out at 8 to 10,000 on his corn ground per growing season. And now that I plug in and put injection, that jumps up to 16 to 20,000. So it's that much of a risk reduction that we can crank the rates up to the point where they're feeding the crop 100%.
And
No
two,
commercial fertilizer.
people get really concerned about applying that high gallons, but correct me if I'm wrong. If you show that you're pulling the yield off that field, they are going to credit.
Yep. If we were to use the soil type yield potential on this farm for yield, we'd be looking at pulling off maybe 80 pounds of phosphorus in a year. But with the no-till, the cover cropping, and the manure injection we've done on this farm alone, we bumped that yield potential up to where we're pulling off like 180 bushel a year, or 180 bushel a year, which calculates out to like 120 pounds of phosphorus a year. So everything goes up with it. So it's not like we're just hiding manure or it's really changing the whole system.
One thing I like about no-till is there's some ground down at the bay. Scott actually started injecting that farm with a tank injector, and that farm's been in no-till now for, I believe this is 11th year. I'm not gonna lie, this year we had some struggles with corn down there. The winter rye got too far ahead, and it was dry. It was sucking the water, not giving it to the corn. So corn, I don't say it was bad. It's fair. Guessing it'll still be 20-ton corn. But the winter rye, I feel like you really got to be careful with it. I'm actually partners with Magnum Rose Dairy from Fairfield on this equipment. And they obviously inject everything as much as they can. So down there at that farm, like I said, I just noticed with the winter rye and putting the manure on top and injecting like that, it just makes like almost like a topsoil, go in there with those chisels and rip it all up. Sometimes you're just putting it all under, where sometimes I just think you're better off just to leave it alone. And they do make tools to go in and do like no-till ripping or doing stuff like that. I think this year, coming year practice is going to be oats for a crop cover, because you don't have to spray them out, they die on their own. I think that will be a big difference on that land down there.
Yeah, look at the wheat as well. Wheat just doesn't get as fresh and dry. Like this tall at the most.
Yeah,
Instead of this tall.
it was pretty bad. We actually pulled in there and tried injecting, and it wasn't. And we're just going to make a mess for the next person. But they got a no-till planter, went in and planted it.
I just laid another half mile underground pipe to the buck farm. And the whole time we're digging, you'd see the pipe crawlers 2.5 feet down the ground. And the corn roots are right down, because I went right through a cornfield. And the roots are all the way down, So if you till a field a lot, pipe crawlers don't usually hang around too much. So they're not making those holes down there.
That's heavy soil.
Oh yeah. Well, it blows my mind how I took a chunk of that, and I couldn't hardly even break it in my hand. I was like, how the hell do I make a hole through that? just kind of blows up by. It's pretty cool how deep they go. That's why I don't know, I'm a no-till. Every time I work in a tillage equipment, I'm no-till more. Been great. Been great for me. So you just gotta have a planner doing it. You gotta get out. Don't just go out and plant. I mean, I follow these guys. They check theirs. I got 2 guys, 2 planners. They get out check them, but I double check them too. I mean, you can't afford to have a mistake when you're doing that, because that's got to be done right. You know, at that time. If you till it, it always goes in. But when you don't till, all you need is one disc somewhere to be messed up.
Yeah, I mean, Scott could, Scott does precision stuff on corn planters, setting them on no-till. It's definitely does a nice job. I've seen a lot of his planters work in the field. He actually has, I believe, a John Deere planter that's all set up electric drive. So we can talk about that. I'm sure you guys had questions on corn planters. I was gonna go back into sand, so we got the dragline system in 2017, and obviously my partner's farm was first, and they bed a lot of sand, and they're milking about 1,200 cows at that dairy. We used to work, so we bought a manure boat, and that fall before we dug like 700 loads of sand out of that pit, and today we have not dug another load out of the pit because of the boat and the drag line. Yeah, we have to add water to the pit to get it out. Maybe 400,000 gallons of water. We actually, so their farm set up with a leachate pit. So leachate goes in, it's all water. We just truck it over with trailer trucks, and it flushes their hoppers out in their barn. And we're able to get that sand out of those pits because A, you're flowing 2 to whatever, 25 with sand probably. It gets rid of it. It gets it suspended, you're mixing it up and it's out of the hole, and it's not filling your tanks up. That's one thing I really like about the dragline on their farm. It's not fun pumping sand, but it's not fun digging it out either in the summer, so you gotta pick your battles.
So I think we'll probably start to shift now.
Yep.
Talk a little bit about the toolbar that's on the tractor trailer over there. Mike suggested before that maybe if folks want to grab a sandwich, Mike very generously got us some sandwiches and drinks. They're in the garage. We'll wait on the beer. The beer is here. Don't worry, I didn't lie. But we'll wait on that until after. And so I guess we'll walk over towards the white truck there. If you want a sandwich, they're right inside that bay. And we'll meet back out there in about 5 minutes. Have Scott start.